Oliver, a successful millionaire, wakes up to a chilling realization. He's inside his coffin at his funeral. With his body paralyzed and his mind racing, he overhears his wife, Sarah, and her lover discussing their plot to get rid of him and claim his fortune. The shock of betrayal hits him hard as he recalls their past and the recent suspicious accidents that were meant to end his life. Despite the dire situation, Oliver finds a sliver of hope when he begins to regain some movement. As Oliver struggles to make sense of his predicament, he listens in on Sarah's plans to move his body and continue the deception. His heart breaks further as he hears her reveal the true, vengeful motives behind her actions. Amid the despair, a glimmer of salvation appears when Emma, a compassionate visitor, hears Oliver's desperate cries from the coffin. With Emma's help, Oliver is freed and taken to a hospital where he starts to recover. As he rests and reflects on the horrifying events, Oliver is overwhelmed with gratitude and determination. With Emma's kindness and the support of his friend Noah, he prepares to confront the treachery that nearly cost him his life. If you are not subscribed, I recommend you subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss any videos. In a chilling twist of fate, a wealthy millionaire, Oliver, awakens amidst the somber ambience of his funeral. As the oppressive darkness of the coffin envelopes him, he listens in horrified silence to the voices of his wife and her lover discussing their deceitful plot. Oliver, a prominent businessman renowned for his success, experiences an agonizing sense of disorientation as he emerges from what feels like a deep, unending slumber. Each movement of his body brings sharp pangs of pain and an overwhelming sense of fatigue. Opening his eyes, Oliver is met with the horrifying realization that he is not in the comfort of his home, but confined within the claustrophobic confines of a coffin, situated amid his wake. Paralyzed and voiceless, Oliver's terror escalates as he grapples with a flood of distressing questions racing through his mind. How did I get here? Who has done this to me? The very thought of being trapped in a coffin propels him into a state of sheer panic. Outside, the voices grow clearer, and Oliver distinctly recognizes the voice of his wife, Sarah, mingled with that of her lover. Sarah's voice, tinged with a triumphant edge, conveys her satisfaction in having successfully orchestrated his demise and secured his fortune. "I honestly didn't think we'd ever pull this off," Sarah exclaims with a mix of relief and elation. Her lover responds with feigned admiration. "You've been incredibly persistent. I genuinely thought I'd meet my end on that bridge during the accident you meticulously planned. Do you think anyone will become suspicious?" Sarah's sense of urgency is palpable as she states, "I must warn Noah. I need to navigate out of this predicament." Oliver, consumed by internal torment and tears streaming from his eyes, reflects on the betrayals he's suffered. "How could she betray me so cruelly? I offered countless opportunities to salvage our marriage, only to be met with this monstrous betrayal. I believed we were merely navigating a rough patch." Despite numerous suspicions of her infidelity, only Noah, my closest friend, was privy to the true state of our union. Sarah, far from mourning, plays the part of a grieving widow with remarkable insincerity, while James, pretending to be a compassionate friend, offers hollow comfort. Amidst the murmurs and footsteps around him, Oliver's mind replays a disturbing series of events. The precariously positioned ladder, the vehicle that nearly ran him down during the night, the botched attack, and other seemingly random misfortunes. What he once dismissed as bad luck now takes on a sinister new light. These were not mere coincidences but manifestations of Sarah's malevolent schemes. As Sarah's voice returns, laced with venomous bitterness, she reveals her true motives. "If Oliver knew why I married him, it was pure vengeance. His father was my tormentor. Upon discovering that Oliver was the offspring of that monster, I was consumed by a singular desire for revenge," she declares with fiery rage. James, taken aback by this revelation, asks incredulously, "You knew about Oliver's father? I thought your motive was solely to inherit his wealth." Sarah, impatient and irate, snaps, "It was both. We need to stay a bit longer because once everyone departs, we can transport the body to his hometown. His mother is buried there, and people will feel a sense of sympathy. Sarah's face is a mask of discomfort, her inner turmoil marked by an intense, unresolved fury. The death of the man who had once been so kind to her, even before their marriage, stirs no grief within her. Her overwhelming hatred clouds her emotions, driving her to escape the scene and put an end to this dark chapter of betrayal. Trapped in the suffocating confines of the coffin, Oliver's struggle for survival intensifies. Amidst the stifling darkness and the oppressive weight of despair, he forces himself to concentrate, desperately seeking a way to escape his grim fate. The anguish of his situation sharpens his resolve. Slowly, he manages to twitch his little finger on his right hand and the thumb of his foot. This faint glimmer of movement ignites a flicker of hope within him, cutting through the pervasive darkness. Even as his mind grapples with the horror of being entombed, he murmurs fervent pleas into the void. Lord, grant me the strength to escape. This cannot be the end. I refuse to accept it. As the funeral concludes, Sarah, accompanied by James, drives away in his car, their journey marked by sinister intent. The hearse, carrying Oliver's body, heads towards his hometown for the burial. Sarah, maintaining her facade of sorrow, addresses Noah, Oliver's loyal friend and a key figure in the company. Noah, I believe you would agree with my decision. I plan to take Oliver to rest with his mother. It's the most fitting tribute, she declares, her voice tinged with false emotion. Noah, seeing through the pretense but constrained by his responsibilities, replies, Of course, Sarah, I must focus on the company right now. I'll get in touch once I'm free. Though Noah's gaze reflects suspicion, he adds, For now, my priority is the business. When the time comes, I'll seek you out. Sarah, anxious to maintain her disinterest in the fortune she's about to inherit, quickly departs, saying, I need to be on my way. Noah, absorbed in his thoughts, watches her leave. Sarah and James follow the hearse, and after nearly 3 hours, they reach the small town where Oliver grew up. Despite her apparent disinterest, Sarah ensures the arrangements are made, confident that Oliver's demise is confirmed. She hands over the final details to her accomplices and leaves, eager to return to her pursuits. Meanwhile, the gravedigger, Benjamin, and his crew complete the somber task of burying Oliver, all while pretending that the deceased had no relatives. They accept payment for their grim work and depart, leaving Benjamin alone with his thoughts. He gazes sadly at the coffin, feeling a deep sorrow for the abandoned soul within. As Oliver continues to regain movement, now able to wiggle his toes and eventually his whole foot, a surge of determination builds within him. The day is overcast, the sky cloaked in a shroud of gray, mirroring the pervasive melancholy that hangs over Oliver's final resting place. The heavy clouds seem to press down, amplifying the gloom of the moment. Benjamin, a devout man, whispers a prayer for the soul that lies beneath. His meditative moment is interrupted by the sight of his niece, Emma, approaching from a distance. Teddy, his loyal dog, barks with excitement at the sight of her. Emma draws near, her voice warm and affectionate. Uncle, I decided to visit you. You're hardly ever at home, she says, her tone bright and loving. Benjamin chuckles, replying, Ah, my dear, if only people would stop departing this world, perhaps I could enjoy a bit more rest. His light-hearted joke elicits a shared laugh, momentarily lifting the veil of sorrow that envelopes the day. Don't say that, Uncle, Emma laughed softly, trying to keep her amusement in check. She took a moment to survey the surroundings. It seems so quiet here today. I didn't see many people and thought I'd stop by. But what's that? She asked, her curiosity piqued as she pointed to the solitary coffin. Why is there no one around? She inquired, her eyes scanning the empty scene. Benjamin responded with a hint of weariness in his voice. Well, niece, today's been rather unusual. A woman with fiery red hair and a man, who seemed to be her partner, appeared briefly. They were accompanied by a group of men dressed in black. They left the payment for the service with me and departed without a word, claiming the deceased had no family. Emma listened intently, her eyes filled with sympathy. "How sad," she murmured, her heart touched by the story. Teddy, sensing the somber mood, began barking as if to offer his form of consolation. Emma, distracted by the dog's urgency, suddenly noticed a strange noise coming from the coffin. Her curiosity turned to suspicion as she moved closer, while Teddy's barking grew more frantic. "Uncle, did you hear that? Something is moving inside," Emma exclaimed, her voice laced with alarm. Benjamin, taken aback, approached the coffin with incredulity. "Are you sure?" he asked, straining to hear the peculiar sounds. Emma nodded, her focus unwavering. "Listen for yourself," she urged, her eyes fixed on the coffin. Inside, Oliver, presumed dead, felt the stirrings of hope as he realized someone might hear him. With renewed effort, he pounded harder against the coffin's lid and cried out weakly for help. The urgency in his actions was palpable. Benjamin and his crew, sensing the gravity of the situation, sprang into action, opening the coffin with a mix of urgency and disbelief. As they lifted the lid, they were met with the astonishing sight of Oliver, very much alive, his eyes wide with fear and confusion. Emma moved swiftly to the coffin, her eyes brimming with compassion as she saw the desperate man inside. "Stay calm," she said soothingly, her voice gentle but firm. "We're here to help you. Just breathe and try to stay calm." Her heart ached for the stranger before her. Oliver, though weak, managed to whisper through his parched throat. "Please, don't tell anyone. She'll find out. She tried to bury me alive. My throat is burning. After this, I'll seek justice. Please, rebury the coffin as if I were still inside." Emma glanced at her uncle, seeking his approval. Benjamin, recognizing the gravity of the situation, agreed to help. He signaled to his assistants to step away, instructing them to maintain discretion. Carefully, he reburied the empty coffin, ensuring it was done with the utmost respect. Once the task was complete, Emma hurriedly took Oliver to the town hospital. At the hospital, she concocted a quick story, presenting Oliver as a cousin who had fallen ill unexpectedly. She reassured the medical staff, who knew her well, that Oliver had come without any identification due to a sudden emergency. The medical team, familiar with Emma's reputation, accepted her explanation. Oliver, visibly gaunt and pallid, was admitted for treatment. He was placed on an 4-drip to address his severe dehydration and was monitored closely overnight. Emma's quick thinking and the hospital's trust in her allowed Oliver to receive the care he desperately needed, providing him a glimmer of hope amidst the turmoil he had endured. Emma spent the night at the hospital by Oliver's bedside, her heart heavy with concern. As the hours passed, she noticed that in his sleep, Oliver was plagued by distressing dreams and murmured pleas for help. Feeling a profound sense of empathy for the young man who had suffered so much, Emma began to speak to him softly, her voice trembling with emotion. "You must be terrified right now," she said, her eyes welling up with tears. "But hang in there. We're here for you, and my uncle and I are good people. We will keep your secret safe and help you in any way we can." After a refreshing shower and a change of clothes, Emma looked at Oliver anew. His youthful features became more pronounced. Thick eyebrows, short, jet black hair, and a serious yet strikingly handsome face. At around 30 years old, Oliver was undeniably attractive, with a pallor that spoke of recent trauma. "Why did they do this to you?" she wondered aloud. "What is your name? I hope you can find strength and eventually overcome this ordeal." As night gave way to dawn, the first rays of sunlight filtered through the window, bathing the room in a gentle glow. Emma, exhausted, lay on a small sofa beside Oliver's bed. The room was serene and empty, the stillness only broken by the occasional rustle of sheets. Oliver, slowly opening his eyes, mused, "Is this a dream, or am I truly in a hospital?" Fully awakening, he turned his head and saw Emma sleeping peacefully. The sight reassured him that he was indeed in a place of safety. A wave of gratitude washed over him as he took a deep breath, tears escaping his eyes. He realized he needed to reach out to Noah. When Emma stirred and began to wake, Oliver's heart lifted with relief, eager to express his gratitude. "You're awake." Emma greeted him with a warm smile. "How are you feeling? Can you move?" Her concern was evident in her furrowed brow. "I'm feeling much better," Oliver replied, his honey-colored eyes reflecting deep gratitude. "Thank you so much for saving me. I'm baffled by what they used to paralyze me. I don't know how to repay you. By the way, my name is Oliver." Emma offered a reassuring smile. "I'm Emma. It was likely a neuromuscular blocker or some kind of poison designed to render you immobile while still conscious. But the important thing is that you're safe now," she said with a sense of relief. "You seem to know a lot about this. Are you a doctor?" Oliver asked, intrigued by her knowledge. "No," Emma replied with a wistful tone. "I've always been fascinated by medical science. I once intended to study medicine but never pursued it. Could you do me a favor?" Oliver asked earnestly. "Please call a trusted friend of mine and ask him to come here?" "Of course," Emma said, eager to assist. "Do you know his number?" "Yes, I know it by heart. Just give me your phone. I'll dial it myself." "I'm still too weak to talk for long," Oliver requested. Emma promptly handed over her phone, and Oliver dialed Noah's number with trembling fingers. "Noah, you need to come immediately. It's about Oliver. He's alive," Emma said urgently into the phone. Noah's response was swift and decisive. "I'm on my way," he assured. Hearing Noah's promise, Oliver felt a surge of relief and profound gratitude. He knew he could rely on Noah's unwavering loyalty. Emma, her face etched with concern, turned to Oliver. "What are your plans now? What will you do next?" "For now, I need to rest," Oliver answered, his voice weary but determined. "I'm overwhelmed and need to gather my thoughts. It's been a lot to process." As Emma settled back, her mind racing with thoughts of what lay ahead, she remained resolute in her commitment to help Oliver navigate the tumultuous road to recovery that lay ahead. Emma, her face a mask of concern, asked, "Do you want me to call someone who can stay with you until Noah arrives?" Oliver, shaking his head gently, replied, "No, it's not necessary. I just need to rest for now. Noah won't be here for a while." His thoughts were still scattered, trying to make sense of the whirlwind events of the past day. "All right, I'll go home quickly and come back soon," Emma said, her worry evident in her voice. Oliver, offering a weak but grateful smile, reassured her, "Thank you. I'll be fine. I appreciate everything you've done." As Emma left, Oliver lay back on the hospital bed, his mind a storm of emotions. He took a deep breath and closed his eyes, reflecting on the harrowing events of the past 24 hours. Only yesterday, he had been trapped in a coffin, feeling as though his world had come to an end. The betrayal by Sarah weighed heavily on his mind. How could she have done this to him? He was hurt not only by her actions but also by his inability to perceive her true intentions and the abuse he had endured. Oliver's thoughts turned inward, plagued by self-reproach. He regretted getting involved with Sarah so easily. Her arrival in his life had been swift, her talk of marriage seemingly out of the blue. The rapidity of it all had been overwhelming, and he found himself questioning his judgment. Sarah, who had initially appeared as a glamorous photo model working with his company, had captivated him with her provocative style and seemingly genuine affection. He recalled how Sarah had first approached him under the guise of professional interest. She had visited his office frequently, ostensibly for work but with ulterior motives. Oliver had been drawn to her charm and vulnerability, unaware of her true intentions. Sarah's manipulative behavior involved playing on Oliver's emotions. She had presented herself as someone in need of affection, gradually growing closer to him while weaving tales of a troubled past. "I can't believe I fell in love with you," she had confided, trying to forge a deeper connection. "You are human, and humans fall in love," she added, sharing her struggles as a means of building trust. Despite Sarah's efforts, Oliver had been skeptical of her sincerity. Little did he know, Sarah had discovered he was the son of a man she despised. During a visit to his company, Sarah had a brief meeting with Noah while Oliver was away. Noah had explained Oliver's job to her agent, and Sarah had been struck by a photo of Oliver with his family. A photo that triggered a surge of hatred towards Ralph, Oliver's father. Sarah had inadvertently knocked the photo to the floor, trying to conceal her true emotions. Noah had picked it up and introduced Oliver, noting the resemblance in his honey-colored eyes. Sarah's barely concealed hatred for Ralph had been evident, despite her attempts to hide it. Sarah's interest in Oliver, though outwardly romantic, had been driven by a desire for revenge. Despite Noah's amusement at the way women admired Oliver, Sarah's mind was already set on a calculated plan. Her accidental meetings with Oliver and their subsequent outings were all part of a larger scheme. During one of their encounters, Sarah had decided to unveil her supposed true self to Oliver. "I want you to know something important," she began, capturing his full attention. What followed was a tale carefully crafted to elicit sympathy and trust, all the while masking her true intentions. As Oliver lay in the hospital bed, reflecting on Sarah's deceit and his naivety, he resolved to confront the truth and seek justice. His thoughts were now focused on recovering and making sense of the tangled web of betrayal that had ensnared him. Sarah's confession had left a profound impact on Oliver. Her intense gaze and urgent tone underscored the weight of her words. "I feel the need to share this with someone," she said, her voice trembling. Oliver, concerned, responded, "Are you sure? We're still getting to know each other." He tried to ease the tension with a smile, adding, "You can trust me with your secret." Sarah hesitated, then took a deep breath. "It's about something I mentioned before. It's related to how I don't think I'm in love with you," she began. Her eyes reflected a deep pain as she continued, "A decade ago, I was involved with an older man. Our meetings were always secret, away from prying eyes. Later, I discovered he was married, and I ended the relationship. But he didn't accept it. He started following me, and one night, he attacked me on a dark street. He threatened me, saying I would never be happy and that he'd kill me if he saw me with another man." Sarah's voice cracked with emotion. "That night marked the beginning of a deep resentment towards all men. I isolated myself for months, refusing to leave the house. After my mother passed away, I went to live with an aunt. I eventually resumed my life as a model, but I avoided older men and only worked with reputable companies. I'm sharing this with you because I hadn't approached any man until I met you." Oliver was deeply moved by Sarah's confession. Her willingness to share such a personal and painful part of her past was a sign of trust. Despite the heavy burden of her history, he decided to give their relationship a chance. Over the following months, their bond grew stronger. Oliver noticed Sarah's discomfort around older men and her anxiety in professional settings involving them. He suggested she seek psychological support, but Sarah hesitated, fearing it might intrude on her privacy. Sarah began spending more time at Oliver's home, and discussions of marriage emerged. Oliver fell in love with her, convinced that her feelings were genuine. They got engaged, and the initial months of their marriage were calm. Sarah continued working and even took on more responsibilities within Oliver's company. However, after a few months, Sarah's behavior began to shift. When Oliver received news that his father would be visiting, Sarah's reaction was noticeably nervous. "You didn't mention that your father lived in another country," Sarah said, her anxiety evident. Oliver explained, "He returned yesterday, and my mom is eager to meet you." To ease Sarah's tension, Oliver suggested they could put his parents up in a hotel since their apartment was small. Sarah quickly agreed. "It's okay, love. Let's see. It's still early for them to come." Tragically, a few days later, Oliver's father was killed in a car accident. Although Sarah appeared devastated, she was secretly relieved. She focused on her career, inventing an urgent photo shoot on the day of the wake to avoid attending the funeral. "I won't be long," Oliver said sadly. Sarah responded, "Yes, love. My condolences to your mother," feigning concern. Upon returning from his hometown and spending a few days mourning, Oliver noticed Sarah's increasingly strange behavior. She was plagued by disturbing nightmares, often waking up in the middle of the night, crying out, "He said he's going to kill me." Not understanding the full context, Oliver gave her medication to help her sleep better. Sarah's behavior grew more erratic after her father's death. She came home late from work and stopped showing affection. Oliver tried to talk to her and comfort her, but she remained cold. "It's just a phase. It will pass," he told himself, trying to remain patient. Sarah's reluctance to seek therapy left Oliver feeling helpless, so he decided to give her time, hoping things would improve with patience and understanding. The unraveling of Sarah's intentions was a dark and twisted journey. Sarah's relationship with James, another model, was not just a means of escape but a dive into self-destructive behavior. She sought solace in illicit affairs and deceit, convincing herself that these actions were justified by the torment inflicted upon her by the older man from her past. Sarah's deceitful trips, which she claimed were for photo sessions in distant cities, were secret rendezvous with James. Her manipulation extended to crafting sinister plans, which James was all too eager to facilitate. "Just tell me what I have to do," James said, his eagerness fueled by his desires and the financial incentives. Oliver's attempts to reach Sarah were met with silence. After a week of her absence, Sarah returned home with a facade of normalcy, masking her true intentions. She embraced Oliver, suggesting they order pizza and wine, presenting an image of reconciliation. Oliver, relieved, believed that their relationship was on the mend. Sarah, however, had different plans. Dressed attractively, she poured wine for both of them, mixing something sinister into Oliver's glass. Her actions were calculated and cold. She asked Oliver to take a shower, allowing her to prepare his drink. When he emerged and joined her, she pointed to the wine and planted a final kiss, hiding the malicious intent behind her seemingly affectionate gesture. Oliver, oblivious to the danger, drank the tainted wine. As the evening progressed, he began to feel the effects of the drug. Sarah watched with cold satisfaction as Oliver's movements grew sluggish. The arrival of the pizza briefly distracted him, but soon he succumbed to the effects, lying down on the couch in Sarah's lap, murmuring about feeling dizzy. Sarah's thoughts turned dark as she watched Oliver fall asleep. "I wish you would sleep forever, love. Let's eat the pizza before it gets cold," she mused, her happiness tainted by her actions. Oliver's last moments with Sarah were filled with a false sense of normalcy, leading to his final, irrevocable sleep. In the hospital, as Oliver regained consciousness, he reflected on that fateful evening. The memory of Sarah's false warmth and the wine that sealed his fate haunted him. As he looked around the hospital room, he was confronted with the reality of his situation, Sarah's betrayal and the finality of her actions. The shock of processing the events and the impact they had on his life weighed heavily on him, casting a shadow over his recovery. As Noah entered the hospital room, his shock and grief were palpable. "My God, what did they do to you?" he exclaimed, tears streaming down his face. His empathy for Oliver was evident, as he struggled to grasp the horror of what his friend had endured. Oliver, though calm and resolute, understood the gravity of the situation. "Everything is fine now," he reassured Noah, prepared to share the full extent of his ordeal. Oliver's thoughts shifted to his responsibilities. "How is the company? Everything all right?" he asked, concerned about the business he was leaving behind. Noah, still overwhelmed, shared that he had already spoken with the lawyer and was desperate to make sense of the recent chaos. Oliver, with a sense of urgency, entrusted Noah with control of the company. "I want you to take control in my place. I trust you," he said, his voice firm despite his condition. He reminded Noah of the power of attorney he had provided, ensuring Noah was prepared for the role. Noah was visibly anxious about Sarah. "But what about Sarah?" he asked, his concern clear. Oliver assured him, "She will receive what she deserves. Take that power of attorney and assume my position. I'll help you from here. For now, just say there are procedures to handle. She doesn't understand business. You will manage. I will leave the company to you in case something happens to me. My brother is in Europe, and I don't even have his contact. My mother is with him there." As Noah listened, his worry turned to sorrow. "But tell me what they did to you," he implored, his concern for Oliver deepening. Oliver recounted the full extent of Sarah and James's betrayal, the depth of his confinement, and the trauma he had faced. Noah's tears of empathy flowed freely as he imagined his friend's suffering. Determined to help, Noah vowed to investigate and gather proof against Sarah and James. Despite his tears, Oliver reassured him, "You're too young to die." Their conversation was interrupted by Emma's arrival. She greeted Oliver with a warm smile. "It was she who saved me," Noah said, his gratitude evident as he looked at Emma. "You have incredible hearing," Noah added, thanking Emma for her persistence in investigating the coffin. "I followed my heart," Emma replied, her words resonating with sincerity. Emma's presence brought a sense of hope, and her smile conveyed unwavering support. Oliver, concerned about Noah's plans, asked, "Where will you stay?" Emma quickly answered, "For now at my house. I can help him." Oliver smiled, appreciating Emma's kindness. She bid them farewell, leaving Noah to spend the night with Oliver, determined to support his friend. As they talked late into the night, Noah reassured Oliver, "I'm here, my friend. Nothing is going to happen to you. Sleep peacefully," unaware of the full extent of Oliver's trauma. The following day, Emma returned to the hospital to pick up Oliver and invited Noah for breakfast at her house. Noah accepted and they left together. Benjamin, having heard of Oliver's recovery, awaited their arrival with relief. He greeted Oliver warmly and offered breakfast. "Sit down." Emma made eggs and bacon. "There's hot coffee," Benjamin said, his calm voice providing a sense of normalcy. When asked about his well-being, Oliver replied with gratitude and a hint of confusion. "I'm fine, Don Benjamin. I haven't thanked you properly yet." Benjamin, wise and composed, offered reassurance. "Don't worry about it. Life is so important and divine that we don't have enough words to express it fully. Just enjoy this new opportunity and listen to your heart, boy." With a final goodbye, Benjamin excused himself, saying, "Now, if you'll excuse me, this old man needs to go to the cemetery. Have a nice day." As Benjamin departed, Oliver and Noah settled into a new chapter of their lives, navigating the aftermath of betrayal and the path to recovery. As Benjamin prepared to leave, Emma kissed him on the forehead and reminded him to follow through with their agreement. Teddy, Benjamin's loyal companion, accompanied him out. Noah looked at Oliver with curiosity, eager for an explanation about Emma's comment. Emma, noticing their inquisitiveness, laughed and said, "Before you ask, I'll satisfy your curiosity." However, she quickly sobered as she thought about Oliver's ordeal. "I asked him to look carefully at all the coffins," Emma explained. "Since then, he's been doing that for us." Oliver, still affected by the recent events, expressed his gratitude to Emma. To shift the focus, Noah brought up their next steps. "I have some police friends from my father's old connections. If I tell them about our situation and my friendship with Oliver, I'm sure they'll help us," Noah said, envisioning Sarah's arrest and prosecution. Emma proposed a strategy. "We could call her and say we know everything. That might intimidate her. We could also record her confession with cameras and recorders." Oliver laughed, acknowledging Emma's suggestion. "It sounds like you have some experience with this." Emma nodded, revealing, "I know things about Sarah that she confided in me. I think only the man who was with her knows about them. I overheard her talking near the coffin." Oliver elaborated on Sarah's history, mentioning that she had been abused by an older man around 10 years ago. He recalled how Sarah had confided in him about her fear of older men, especially those with gray hair. She had nightmares and avoided her father's funeral. Emma asked, "I'll call and tell her we know everything. But where should we meet her?" Oliver suggested, "My boss's house would be a good place." Noah then inquired, "What about your mom? Is she coming back from Europe?" Oliver replied, "Nell decided to stay there. She's tired of being alone and wants to spend time with my brother. My mom said she's fed up with being alone in the house." Emma asked about Oliver's mother's house location. "It's about 100 kilometers from here," Oliver answered. The group then discussed their plan. Afterward, Noah had to leave but promised to return with Emma and her police friend to resolve the situation with Sarah. Emma, eager to help, quickly transitioned to discussing how much free time she had. "Come on, Oliver. I'll show you your room," she said softly. "Thank you," Oliver responded. Feeling at a loss for words, Emma guided him to a simple but tidy room with a plain bed, a closet, and a desk by the window. She offered to help put his clothes away, but he declined. She left him to rest and went to the kitchen. Over the next 2 days, Oliver began to settle into Emma's company. His simple attire and top-bun hairstyle became his new normal. Emma's attentive nature piqued Oliver's curiosity about her profession. She invited him to the kitchen and served him coffee. "I'm a psychologist," Emma shared. "I took a few days off to be with you. I have an office that I share with a friend from university. I rescheduled my patients for next week." She took a sip of coffee and gazed at him warmly. "That's wonderful. So you transitioned from medicine to psychology?" Oliver asked. "Yes, but I had my reasons," Emma replied with a smile. "And what are those reasons?" Oliver asked, his curiosity piqued. Emma's tone turned firm. "I'll tell you another time. Right now, I want to know how you're feeling." She looked at him with genuine concern. Emma maintained her focus on Oliver, embodying her role as a psychologist with empathy and professionalism. She observed the signs of his distress: insomnia, fatigue, headaches, and stomach aches. In your situation, these physical symptoms are typical. You could be experiencing post-traumatic stress, a common reaction to severe trauma. This might include reliving traumatic events through flashbacks or nightmares, she explained with a serious tone. Oliver nodded, his eyes reflecting his ongoing fear and confusion. "Everything is still very scary," he admitted, his voice trembling. Emma approached him and enveloped him in a comforting hug. She reassured him that he was not alone and that everything would be okay. For his mental and physical well-being, she promised to support him through this challenging time. Emma stayed close, sensing that Oliver needed this reassurance and comfort. She guided him through deep breathing exercises, encouraging him to imagine a future filled with loved ones and positive experiences, helping him shift his focus from distressing thoughts. After a while, Emma gently pulled away, her eyes glistening with tears. "Thank you for coming into my life," she said, her voice choked with emotion. She admitted feeling vulnerable for the first time, and Oliver, touched by her sincerity, hugged her again. He found solace in her embrace and was uplifted by the hope she radiated through her kind smile. Emma stood up and said, "I have a gift for you." She returned with a small box and handed it to Oliver with a warm smile. Oliver opened the box with curiosity, revealing a diary and a pen inside. He looked at Emma with a questioning expression. Emma explained, "It's a diary. I want you to use it to write down whatever you feel, calmly. It can be about your days, your dreams, or your pains. It's a way to express and release what's inside." Oliver chuckled, feeling a bit uncomfortable with the idea. "I never thought about keeping a diary," he admitted. Emma reassured him, "It's a good form of therapy while you're here. Write if you feel comfortable. I'm here to support you." Noah called to inform them that he was coming to start their plan. Emma mentioned having cameras and recorders available, which she used for therapy sessions with patient consent. She also noted that Sarah likely had her traumas and that she planned to approach her in a friendly manner. Oliver was initially surprised but decided to trust Emma's calm and strategic approach. "I'm nervous about all this," Oliver admitted, "but I'm not worried about the plan." Emma responded, "The policeman who's coming is trustworthy. We'll be heading to my mom's house soon, and she can show it to you. I want to resolve the situation as soon as possible." As they prepared to head to the old house, Emma reminisced about the positive memories associated with it. She asked Oliver to help open the windows to let in some fresh air, finding the key where it was usually kept, under a flower pot. Emma smiled when she saw Oliver looking at her with a harmonious expression. "Are you sure you want Sarah to know where your house is?" Emma asked. "Yes, I am," Oliver confirmed. "I have no further ties to her, and she will be arrested before she can come back here and cause me any more harm." Emma remained silent as they discussed the strategic placement of cameras and recorders throughout the house. Noah soon arrived with the policeman, who listened intently as Oliver provided a detailed account of the situation. The group settled on the living room couch, where the policeman carefully reviewed the evidence and discussed the next steps. Noah explained his plan, emphasizing the importance of the video and audio recordings as proof. The policeman agreed that these recordings would be crucial in building a strong case. He then offered his assistance whenever needed and bid farewell to Noah. Noah informed the group that Sarah had recently approached him, demanding to know the progress of the situation. When she realized it would take some time, she created a scene, claiming everything belonging to Oliver was now hers. She even hired a lawyer only to discover that Noah had a power of attorney. "She must not understand how I got this power," Noah said, relieved that Oliver had signed it while still alive. Emma, maintaining her calm demeanor, reassured everyone. "She's going to get what she deserves." "I'm ready when you are." "I can make the call," Emma offered. "Call now. I want to see that imposter behind bars," Oliver demanded, his frustration evident. Emma took a deep breath, dialed Sarah's number, and spoke calmly. "Hi, I'm Emma. We need to meet to discuss how you buried your husband alive." There was a moment of silence on the phone. Emma continued, informing Sarah that she would send a message with the address and time, 5 p.m. the following day. She warned Sarah that if she did not attend, the police would be at her door the next day, and escaping would not help. Emma fabricated a motive about wanting money to make Sarah believe that was her primary concern. She also requested that James come along, indicating that their future was at risk if he didn't. After ending the call, Emma sent Sarah a message with the meeting details. Noah updated his police contact about the agreed time. The following day, just before the scheduled time, Noah provided the license plate number of Sarah's vehicle to his police friend, who discreetly followed her movements. At a gas station, the policeman observed Sarah and James arguing. "I hate these things. Who is this idiot threatening me?" Sarah complained, her frustration evident. "Speak more quietly. Just put gas in and let's go," James replied, trying to remain calm despite the tension. After fueling up, Sarah and James got back into the car and continued towards Sarah's address. The policeman kept a close watch, ensuring that Sarah's movements were closely monitored as part of their plan. Sarah knocked on the door with a mix of defiance and nervousness, and James followed her inside. Emma greeted them at the door and invited them in, her demeanor calm but resolute. Inside the room, Oliver and Noah were already seated, while the policeman, having observed their arrival, slipped in through the back entrance. Emma motioned for everyone to sit. Sarah, visibly agitated, demanded to know who Emma was and what she wanted. Emma's voice was icy as she replied, "I want to know how you managed to poison your husband and put him in a coffin." Sarah's face twisted in anxiety as she shifted her gaze between Emma and James. Emma's next words seemed to hit Sarah hard. "I know you were pregnant when you went to that orphanage 10 years ago. You left the baby there, and 10 years later you married Oliver to get revenge because his father, Ralph, abused you. Admit it." Sarah's anger flared, and she begrudgingly confirmed Emma's accusations. "Yes, his father abused me. That bastard is dead now. I wanted revenge on Oliver because of him. I hated Oliver and wanted him to suffer and die. I had to tell him that secret so he would trust me, but I never told him who I was." Her fury and hatred were palpable as she moved around the room, revealing her deep-seated bitterness. She recounted how she had abandoned the baby as a result of rape and saw Oliver as an instrument to express her anger. Sarah's emotions shifted erratically between rage and sorrow. She described how she had poisoned Oliver, believing he would die in his sleep. Her breakdown was intense. She threw objects, screamed, and expressed her torment, while James stood back, clearly frightened and unsure. "Why so much cruelty?" Emma asked softly. "Do you feel any satisfaction or peace after trying to kill Oliver?" Sarah, through her tears, admitted, "No, I don't feel clean. That idiot Oliver did everything I wanted. I don't even know how much he trusted me. Emma gently urged Sarah to continue, asking how she could have had the courage to harm someone who had shown her kindness. Sarah's behavior, once aggressive and erratic, softened into a more somber tone as she confessed her inability to sleep and her deep sense of emptiness. She expressed confusion about why she was revealing everything to Emma, who remained composed and supportive. Emma revealed, "I'm here to help you. I'm a psychologist." Sarah, incredulous, responded, "A psychologist? So you make me confess a crime and then say you want to help?" Emma attempted to keep Sarah engaged, saying, "Please, stay a little longer. I want you to meet someone." At that moment, Oliver emerged from a room, having been part of a carefully planned revelation. The sight of him stunned Sarah into silence, her reaction one of shock and disbelief. The policeman stepped forward, his expression grave. "Sarah, you are under arrest for attempted murder," he announced. Sarah, overwhelmed by the sight of Oliver and the realization of her predicament, could barely move. The policeman continued, detailing the evidence against her and the seriousness of her crime. Oliver, his eyes burning with resolve, addressed Sarah directly. "You are going to pay for everything." James, who had remained silent throughout the confrontation, looked at Sarah with a mix of fear and guilt. As Sarah was being led away, her anger reached a boiling point. She glared at a picture of Ralph and screamed, "You ruined my life, idiot. I hope you're in hell." Her rage was palpable as the police escorted her outside, her screams echoing through the room. The flashing lights of patrol cars were visible through the windows. Noah, emerging from the room, found Oliver looking pale and shaken. Without hesitation, Noah embraced him tightly, trying to offer comfort. Oliver felt a pang in his stomach and a wave of dizziness, but Noah's support was grounding. Emma, ever attentive, helped Oliver to the sofa so he could rest. Noah, his worry evident, looked at Emma with concern. "I'm worried," Noah said, his face etched with anxiety. "He still doesn't seem to be okay." Emma sighed heavily, her voice gentle. "Be ready to go back to normal life," she said, offering a reassuring look. "I'll take care of him, Noah. You don't have to worry." Oliver, who had overheard their conversation, spoke up, his exhaustion evident but his voice sincere. When Noah began questioning Emma's ability to help, "You didn't listen when she said she's a psychologist," Oliver said, surprising Noah with his insight. "But that means you're in good hands." Sometime later, after Noah left, Oliver and Emma returned to Benjamin's house. Over the following months, Emma held therapy sessions with Oliver, helping him focus on the present and future while encouraging him to find joy in life. Benjamin grew closer to Oliver, sharing stories from the cemetery and aiding him in navigating life's challenges. As Emma prepared to leave for the orphanage, she turned to Oliver and asked, "I have a reading project today. Can I go with you?" Eager to connect with the place Emma cherished, Oliver asked if he could accompany her. "Of course," Emma replied with a warm smile. "It will be a pleasure to have a helper." "Are you sure you're ready?" Emma inquired gently. "More than ever," Oliver replied confidently. "I need to go back to my life, but I want to start by visiting the orphanage with you." At the orphanage, Emma shared the significance it held for her. She explained that her mother was an orphan and that she was adopted at the age of 9 by Uncle Ben's mother. Emma had been very happy in this home, and when she married her father, she wanted to volunteer at the orphanage. She would teach in the morning and then help at the orphanage in the afternoon. Emma reminisced warmly. "The coordinators loved having me back to help the children." Oliver, curious, asked about how Emma had recognized Sarah. Emma explained, "I saw Sarah at the cemetery when I went to visit my uncle. From a distance, I knew I'd seen her before. I didn't stop at first because I didn't want to trouble my uncle, but when I came back and saw no one else was around, I stopped." Emma continued, revealing that Noah had shown her a picture of Sarah before she went to Oliver's mother's house. She remembered seeing Sarah leave a baby at the orphanage and then run away. Emma had taken the child inside, but by the time she went to find Sarah, she had disappeared. "I needed to bring out his ego along with the painful memories," Emma admitted. "I'm sorry if it was difficult," But it was necessary. Oliver was silent, contemplating her words. But there is something you want to know, right? Emma asked as if reading his thoughts. Intrigued, Oliver asked, What would I want to know? Emma smiled. Do you want to meet Sarah's son? Oliver's surprise turned into a warm smile as he recognized the depth of Emma's empathy and understanding. Her support and kindness had touched him deeply, making him realize just how special she was. Her genuine care, without any expectation in return, had made him feel valued and understood. As they arrived at the orphanage, Emma introduced Oliver as her assistant for the day. She brought bags full of donations and asked him to help distribute them. Look who's here, Emma announced with sparkling eyes. She turned to the children and cheerfully said, I came to help, and look, I brought a friend. One of the children, a boy with green eyes and fiery red hair, ran up to them. Emma explained to Oliver that the boy was Sarah's son and now over 10 years old. Oliver engaged with the boy, asking, Are you happy here? The boy smiled brightly and replied, I am, Uncle. Aunt Emma always comes here to play with us. She's like our mother. For Oliver, it was both chilling and enlightening to see these children growing up without their parents but surrounded by Emma's love. Emma didn't just help with daily activities. She also provided psychological support to the children pro bono, offering them stability and hope. As time passed, Emma launched a campaign to raise funds for the orphanage, and Oliver invested in educational projects for orphan children. They worked together to ensure a brighter future for the children. I can't believe it's been a year since my fake death, Oliver said with a relieved smile, reflecting on the past year's changes. Emma shared in his joy. And how good it is that you can finally sleep comfortably. Oliver laughed and added, I would sleep even better if I were by your side. Emma's face lit up with delight. I'm going to take care of my company again and sell my apartment. I don't want to go back there. I prefer to find a new place closer to here. It's only a 3-hour drive. Maybe I'll find something halfway, she joked. Intrigued, Oliver asked, What do you mean by that? Emma smiled warmly. It means I can't hide my feelings for you anymore. You're the best thing in my life, and I want to know if I can be a part of yours. I don't want to leave your life. Oliver responded sincerely, I want a psychologist just for me. Emma laughed. You're a sweetheart, but you need to stop being so naive. Oliver looked puzzled. How so? Emma teased. I saw the little box from the beginning. You're a bit slow, leading them both into a fit of laughter. Oliver then kissed her passionately, sealing their newfound connection. They shared many interests, and Oliver was eager to join her in volunteer work at the orphanage. The experience made him feel even more valued and helped him see the importance of setting aside his ego. Visiting the orphanage became a form of therapy for him, showing him that there were greater challenges in life than his problems. Emma had become an angel in his life, bringing him a new perspective and immense joy. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through Oliver and Emma's story. From the depths of betrayal and redemption to the triumph of compassion and new beginnings, their experiences have taught us so much about forgiveness, resilience, and the power of a second chance. As we wrap up, we'd love to hear from you. What's one key takeaway from Oliver and Emma's journey that you plan to apply to your own life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and found it inspiring, please leave your comment, give us a thumbs up, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more uplifting and engaging content. Your support helps us continue bringing these stories to you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.